Studio One, many homeowners will burn wood to combat high heating costs this winter. We'll tell you what precautions you should take before you put that first log on the fire. Also, farmers need to be creative to make a living off the land. We'll take you to a pig farm where you can hear hog calls mixed with music. And some people have the gift of the gab. We'll spend a day in the life of someone whose job it is to spark conversation and keep it going.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Shannon Brewer.
And doesn't it look festive here? Look at this. We've got
Christmas everywhere, holiday seasons.
Decorations blinking all over us. And the good thing is that we're going to share a little festivity with you as well at home. We're going to make our own festive centerpiece later in the show.
Something to help spark up the decorations in your own home after seeing them all over town.
Exactly. So you can do this at home by yourself. Also coming up in the show, senior citizens are now able to sign up for a new federal program that helps pay for prescription drugs. We'll tell you what's making it hard for some seniors to take advantage of the program.
Also, drug abuse is often highlighted as a factor in disrupting communities. Later in the show, we'll meet a man who looks at the effects of drug abuse on individuals before evaluating society.
But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torning.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. The nation's top-ranking military official said Thursday that U.S. troops must stay in Iraq to ensure long-term success. General Peter Pace said this is necessary because, as he sees it, there is no option but victory. In recent weeks, the Bush administration has come under attack for not having a timetable set up for troop withdrawal. Some critics say the time has come for the U.S. to leave Iraq and leave the insurgents alone. In his speech, General Pace countered this belief with his own.
On September 11, 2001, we were leaving them alone. That was the day we realized in the United States that we were at war.
A prosecutor in the Carly Bruscia case is urging jurors to give Carly's killer the death penalty. Prosecutor Deborah Riva said Thursday that Joseph Smith was clear-headed and knew exactly what he was doing when he abducted and raped the 11-year-old. Smith was convicted on November 17th, and the jury will now recommend a life sentence or the death penalty. Those who may wonder where their steak and chicken is coming from will have to wait until 2008 to find out. A federal law requiring mandatory country of origin labels for meat has been postponed for another 2 years. The delay was a result of meat packers and supermarkets who were worried about the change in record keeping. Those in favor of meat labeling include farmers and some consumers. Senators in favor of the change say that because most other products have a place of origin label, the food on a person's dinner plate should also be marked. However, some believe that adding meat labels will not interest consumers.
They're relying on our government, the inspectors, and the retailer to provide a good product for them.
The proposed labels would give a full history of the livestock's life, including birthplace. Finding substitute teachers for classrooms is becoming more difficult. A survey by the National Education Association shows that 96% of school districts are having problems finding subs for full-time teachers. With low pay and few benefits, the number of qualified replacements is dropping. Also, school districts are facing an increased demand for professional training among substitutes due to the No Child Left Behind Act. Educators say this shortage is leaving classrooms unsupervised and affecting teaching standards. High heating costs have many homeowners choosing wood for their heating source, but fire safety experts are concerned many may not be taking the necessary precautions.
Many homeowners are now turning to wood to help save on heating costs.
We're going to do a lot more wood burning this year than we have in the past.
Others, like Arnie Brecky, use a wood stove to help heat their homes.
We do the maintenance each fall, so I'm due for one next week before we get into the real heating season.
Unlike some homeowners, Brecky understands the importance of yearly cleaning. Fire officials say homeowners should get their chimneys cleaned and inspected every year.
Check your seals in your fireplaces to make sure the seam between the hearth and the firebox and any other seams between the firebox and the vertical enclosures are tight and caulked.
The increase of people using wood has helped chimney sweepers stay busy.
The price of fuel going up and natural gas, We've probably at least seen a 50% increase in calls for chimney cleaning.
Mark uses brushes like these to remove soot buildup out of your chimney. Too much buildup can cause a fire. If you hear a roar in your chimney, odds are you have a fire and you need to get out of your house and call 911 right away.
In its latest study, the National Fire Protection Agency says home heating fires were responsible for more than $500 million in property damage in 2001. For homeowners who do use wood this winter, fire officials say proper installation and yearly maintenance may prevent fires and save lives. With photographer Patrick Wynn, I'm Ann Clark reporting for Studio One News.
Fire officials say homeowners should also check their local fire codes before installing a fireplace or wood-burning stove. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks, Mariah. Well, it certainly is nice, though, when it's chilly outside to sit around a nice fire.
Absolutely. There's nothing quite like a nice fire, some cocoa, and watching the snow fall.
Sounds good.
And on that note, let's go to Matt Benz over at the weather studio and find out about the winter weather.
Well, that sounds pretty good, especially this time of the year, because we're starting to see our slip towards winter, and obviously winter's right around the corner. So let's take a look at our averages across our viewing area. And a fire looks pretty good with, you have these temperatures outside with 25 degrees, your average high in Grand Forks, with 46 out in Denver. But the big picture across the national map, you can see across much of the northern parts of the country, your temperatures are starting to get cooler, but down towards the south, they're also starting to get cooler down there. Dallas, your average high this time of year is 61, and LA, your average high is 70 out there. Well, it is the ending of a season of sorts, but not across the United States, but across the Atlantic. It's the end of the 2005 hurricane season. It ended November 30th. It went for 6 months, started way back in June. And we actually had a very busy season, and that's because we had very, very warm water across the Atlantic. And it was basically across from the coast of Africa all the way back towards the Gulf of Mexico. And that wasn't due because of global warming. It was actually due to natural causes. That's because we had warm currents moving, and we have a warm current that pretty much wraps its way around the world. We had a warm current come down from the south there. It goes all the way to the north, and that's a surface current. And then once it gets up to the Arctic Circle, it gets cold, dives down deep, and it comes back south as a cold current. So every 30 years we begin to see a process of changeover and stuff. And this is actually the year where we had very warm conditions here, and that created a very record-breaking season. And we had 26 named storms. That was set back in 1933 was a record that was broken. Again, that was the year we had warm water. 13 hurricanes this year. It broke the record that was set back in 1969. Again, that was another year where we saw warm water, so you're starting to see a trend here, and we saw 3 Category 5 hurricanes. And it looks like we're going to see that warm water stick around for next year, so it may be another busy 2006 hurricane season, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Well, now we're going to quiz you on who depends on heating oil the most. Got a couple geographic areas in the United States, and coming up later in the show we'll have a story about heating oil and the weather, as well as a story about blizzard conditions and how it affected our area.
So Matt, if we have hurricanes all year round, why is there a season?
Well, actually our season, it goes from June to November, but there's never been a recorded landfall of a hurricane from December through May, so that's why the season ends in November, because we've never seen one hit land.
That's good to know. Thanks, Matt.
All right.
It's kind of an interesting way of categorizing
And
it.
hopefully they don't keep hitting through December through...
We'll just deal with snow for now.
Exactly. All right, well, let's go see some highlights now with sports and Nathan Shane.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. The New Jersey Nets have won 999 games in its team history. They would look to make it an even 1,000, but would have to do it against the league-leading Detroit Pistons. And they got off to a pretty good start in this one. In the third quarter, Vince Carter takes it and kisses it off the glass. New Jersey would go up by 5 at this point. Still in the third quarter, but the score is tied at 57. Big Ben Wallace gets the alley-oop. Detroit goes up by 2. And now in the fourth quarter, Detroit's starting to run away with it. Chauncey Billups would dribble in the lane, kicks it out to Richard Hamilton, who had 30 points on the night, plus that three-pointer. Detroit would win 93-83. On to Cleveland, where the Cavs take on the LA Clippers. Early in the third, LeBron James off the steal says, hey, I'll take it myself, guys. The Cleveland Cavs go up by 2. Now in the fourth quarter with the game tied, Elton Brand with the chance to win it, but he would shoot too hard. We're going into overtime. Now in OT. Daniel Marshall was a big story here. He had back-to-back threes. That was one of them. Cleveland wins a close one, 103-99. Sometimes teamwork is built through untraditional sources. One team took the opportunity to take on an unlikely foe, playing something a little different. The University of North Dakota women's hockey team collaborated with the Grand Forks Air Force Base to help build team togetherness by playing paintball. While several of the servicemen had experience in paintball to go along with the training they received in the military, the hockey team were rookies to the sport. The team has done other events in the past, but paintball has led to unique opportunities for the team.
There's a mission that you're trying to accomplish by capturing that flag, so you have to kind of come up with a strategy, and everybody has to be on the same page.
Even though the hockey team won very few of the games, most players agreed that by participating in events like this one, the team can build a stronger bond. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. Going to the NHL, we want to know what is the Conn Smythe Trophy awarded for? Is it for the MVP, playoff MVP, best goaltender, or Rookie of the Year? You have to wait till the second half of the show, and we'll have the answer plus more sports then. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks a lot, Nathan. Another novel is coming to the silver screen. We'll preview Memoirs of a Geisha later.
Also, methamphetamines and cocaine are two extremely addictive drugs. They are also two of the most prevalent drugs in America. Coming up, we'll talk to a man who studies the effects of these drugs on the brain.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Advance your career with a graduate business degree from the University of North Dakota. The graduate school at UND offers a variety of master's degrees that can help you stand out in the competitive business world. Our programs accommodate full-time students as well as working professionals. Our state-of-the-art facilities, dedicated faculty, and entrepreneurial training position graduates for careers as business leaders. Make your move towards a business leadership position. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks.
Methamphetamines have been used for everything from treating depression to alleviating nasal decongestion. Early cocaine users believed that cocaine could cure impotence. Modern science has increased our knowledge of these drugs, but illegal drug use remains at record levels. Dr. Sushil Sharma is here. He would tell us about his research on the multiple drug use and its effects on the brain. Thank you for being on the show today.
Well, I'm also very thankful to you and the crew who has invited me for this great and interesting talk on drug abuse.
Well, thank you. Now, you focus your research on the use of multiple drugs and the effects on the brain. What is different about multiple drugs versus a single drug use?
You see, if you take a single drug, it will have less effect. But if you are taking 2 or 3 drugs together, you will have multiple effect. For example, if cocaine and methamphetamines are taken together, they will have multiple effect because they are acting on multiple receptors in the brain. And every drug has a receptor in the brain.
Are there specific drugs that you're focusing your research on?
Mainly cocaine and methamphetamine, because cocaine comes from Colombia And met is synthesized here because it's a farming land where nitrous ammonia is taken, and nitrous ammonia actually is the precursor for synthesis of methamphetamine. Last year, about 32 underground factories were seized, and even one of the mother got her son arrested, you know.
Wow. Well, it sounds like a complicated topic. Is there a simple way of explaining how you do the research?
Well, we have actually in our laboratory, we have got 5 different genetically engineered animals, and mainly these are metallothan transgenic and metallothan double knockout animals. The transgenic animals, they are resistant to cocaine and amphetamine. The double knockout is susceptible. But we have interesting animal group of animals. These are called weaver mouse. And based on that, we got a big federal funding for studying the dopaminergic neurotransmission in drug addiction. And these animals have got a specific mutation in the G protein linked. And as a consequence of single gene point mutation, we get actually continuous reduction in the dopamine.
So, oh, I'm sorry. So these animals are living. Is this damage permanent or is this temporary that you're saying?
It goes actually with the progression, as you see in drug addicts. They show symptoms of chronic drug addiction. And that's why we use them as a model of cocaine and methamphetamine addiction. They show damage in the hippocampus, which is seat of memory. They show damage in the striatum, which is seat of movements, and they show damage in the cerebellum, which is seat of coordination. So all these sensory modalities are impaired in drug abuse. That's why we are using these animals, madam.
Okay, so we actually have pictures of lung scans that we're going to take a look at. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here?
Oh yeah, okay. What is actually, we have this micropet imaging device, and this project actually was submitted 3 years back to Professor Manu Chirebadi, and a lot of stalwarts, Dr. President Kopchala, Dean Wilson, and Senator Dorgans helped us in getting this major funding. And in this picture, what we are seeing is that a normal animal has got high level of fluorodeoxyglucose, which is an indicator, molecular marker of energy, brain energy. And you see there's a high level, and when you give cocaine and methamphetamine, the levels are reduced. So that's what you are seeing here.
So we saw them decreasing there.
That's correct.
Now, oftentimes we hear drug abuse related to violent crimes. Is there an association there through the research?
Yes, actually, we want to be very sure that whether we can reduce this by using something like coenzyme Q10 and metallothionein, because they are antioxidants, and they try to inhibit the free radical oxidative production in the brain, and that is a major cause of neurodegeneration. So that's why we are using these transgenic animals and dopaminergic cell lines in culture. So we directly put the drugs to see the direct effect of the drug on the brain. So that's what we are doing at the time, yes.
So with methamphetamines, we hear about them being very addictive. Some people say that they use meth once and they're addicted, and others say that they've used it a few times and that they're not addicted. Is it possible through the research that both of these are true?
Actually, we are interested in the cellular, molecular, and genetic basis of drug addiction, and I'm hopeful that in future we will be having answer. But at this time, I can say definitely that there is a genetic link, and also if parents are abusing, the children may get it. So this is something related to genes also, and there are hormone responsive genes, and I would say it's the brain energy and the neurotransmitters, which are important components of drug seeking behavior, and that's what we are looking at.
Have you found that there are certain populations that are more susceptible to drug abuse?
Well, not at this moment, but there is some link that depending on the availability, there is a drug addiction. For example, in western part, you have got cocaine and amphetamine. In the developing world, you have got morphine and heroin.
Well, it sounds like there is a lot to this and that we could talk for hours on the research, but thank you very much for coming on the show.
Well, I am also thankful to you, madam, and thank you everybody who are listening this program, and good wishes and seasonal greetings to everybody. Huh?
Thank you. Thank you. Coming up, the holiday season is here and many people are decorating. We'll learn from one woman who creates a craft that will make your whole home smell like the holidays. Also, there's more than just music coming out of your stereo. Next, we'll spend a day with a person who talks and talks and talks.
Earn Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The story of a Japanese geisha is one of mystery and fascination. The new movie, Memoirs of a Geisha, shows what it takes to become one of these wonders. The movie looks at the life of a woman and how she becomes a geisha. She has difficulty deciding between her profession and personal life. The appearance of a geisha is important. Director Rob Marshall says this movie's portrayal of the geisha is different.
We basically decided to enhance the look of a geisha, so that wasn't an exact replica of what it looked like in the 20s and 30s, but as seen through a child's eyes.
The crew built its own geisha district, recreating ancient streets and even building a river. Shooting continued in Japan to capture authentic locations as well. Memoirs of a Geisha opens in theaters December 9th. Now it's time to take a look at the events happening in your area. The book, The Attitude is Everything, states the average person speaks a maximum of 144,000 words each day. We'll spend a day in the life of someone who may talk even more than that.
From the daily news to family matters, people hold discussions on many topics. There are some people who make a living getting others to talk.
Good afternoon, you're on Talk Radio.
Mike McNamara, also known as Mac, gets paid to have conversations.
I don't mind,
he is a radio talk show host and chats with others for hours at a time. Mike says it takes a special type of person to be in radio.
To get into this business, you have to be a reader, and you have to be interested in current events.
So tonight rather cloudy.
Every day is a little different. Besides having to talk for a long time, Mike also hopes his listeners will respond.
It's funny, you know, some days you think you have a great show and nobody calls and you wonder if anybody's listening. And then other days, you know, you think, geez, what am I going to do? And for whatever reason, you hit a nerve and you just sit there and you press the button and you take calls all day.
Mike is well-rounded in his knowledge, but there's a certain subject he can speak freely about. Mike is part of the Marine Corps. He has already been to Iraq once and will be going back this year. That understanding has made his show different from others.
What I've been able to do for my listeners is I can take them directly to those places because of the guys I know there. So I think I've helped to educate people about the reality of what goes on in Iraq.
Even though the radio provides some anonymity for Mike, his co-workers are quick to reveal more.
He's a big, tough Marine and stuff.
But he's not afraid to hug you either.
Whether Mike is sitting behind a microphone or overseas in uniform, his job is to always be part of a story. This is Jenna Lund reporting for Studio One.
Mike says it was an accident that he got his job in radio. The owner of his station asked him to do talk radio after hearing his voice on live commercials. Coming up, this little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed home, and this little piggy went to a barn dance. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Do you need a flexible way to earn your degree? The University of North Dakota's Degrees After Hours program is designed to work around your full-time schedule. Whether you've got a family, a full-time job, or both, the Degrees After Hours program offers you flexible alternatives. You can earn a degree or take courses online through video conferencing and in the evenings or on weekends. UND's Degrees After Hours program fits your needs, your schedule, and your goals. Contact UND today.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
So drugs are a hot topic on today's show, and one of the places that they've come up is in the high school system and trying to decide whether or not we should drug test our high school students.
Yeah, they often have dogs going through, sniffing lockers and things like that, and this is another issue. We went out on the street and asked people what they thought, if it was an invasion of privacy or it's a good thing. That's coming up. Also in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, for years, senior citizens asked the government for help in paying for prescription drugs. There's now a new Medicare plan that helps cover the cost. We'll tell you why many seniors are having trouble signing up for the program.
Also, barns are often used to hold animals. We'll visit a barn that gets used for much more than raising livestock.
And this time of year, many people put up Christmas lights and send out cards. Later in the show, we'll learn how to make a holiday craft that can brighten your family table at home. But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torney.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. People across the globe observed World AIDS Day on Thursday. Events were held in many countries, all designed to spread awareness of the disease. President Bush and the First Lady spoke at a World AIDS Day event in Washington, D.C. The Bushes vowed to continue to take an active role in the fight against the disease. More than 40 million people are living with HIV around the world, and about 3 million are expected to die from AIDS this year. In 2003, the Bush administration committed $15 billion over 5 years to help combat AIDS around the world. 50 years ago, an African-American woman took a stand and refused to give up her seat on a bus. Today, President Bush signed a bill that will honor the late Rosa Parks with a statue in the U.S. Capitol. Parks will be the first African-American woman to have a monument in the Capitol. Thousands gathered in Montgomery, Alabama Thursday to remember Parks, who is called the mother of civil rights. Deer collisions are the cause of nearly 75% of animal crash fatalities, and now is the time of year when drivers need to keep a closer eye on the road. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says that November and December mark deer hunting and mating seasons, causing deer to be more mobile. The Institute also says that collisions occur most often on rural highway roads. Law enforcement says drivers should try to avoid deer, but says there are times when it's best not to swerve away.
If you have to collide with a deer, collide with it. One of the worst things that can happen to you is to go into an oncoming vehicle and have a head-on crash.
Fonder says drivers should be aware of posted deer crossing signs. He says they mark sites where a significant number of deer collisions have occurred. A Harvard Medical School study shows that many pediatricians are wrongly prescribing antibiotics to children. The research found that a child's sore throat is usually caused by a non-treatable virus, but doctors are prescribing antibiotics without even testing for strep throat. When children are exposed to medicine they don't need, bacteria can develop a resistance to the drug. It can also cause stomach problems. The study shows that doctors are prescribing antibiotics 53% of the time, while the occurrence of strep throat is only about 15 to 30%. Government programs like Medicare look to help senior citizens with medical expenses, but for many seniors, a new prescription drug coverage program is raising more questions than it's offering answers.
We can't tell you which plan is good.
Seniors like these in Gilby, North Dakota often rely on several drugs to keep them healthy. Today they are gathering to learn more about Part D, Medicare's new prescription drug coverage program. But there's just one problem. The complex plan is leaving many seniors unsure of what to choose.
They just don't understand which plan to pick. They're confused because there's so many different plans.
North Dakota alone offers more than 40 prescription drug plans to choose from under Part D. These plans can cost anywhere from almost $2 to nearly $100 per month. Seniors can simply go online to find out which plans cover their prescriptions. But it's not as simple as one would think.
78% of seniors have never been on the internet before, and so it's a daunting task for them to try and figure out which plan is going to be best for them.
Their best bet is if they can't go online, or if they don't know specifically what to be looking for, is to call someone who does.
Enrollment for Part D began on November 15th and runs until May 15th, 2006. If one plan doesn't work out, seniors are able to change their plans from year to year. All confusion aside, many hope that the benefits offered by Part D will help seniors save money on their prescriptions.
It is very cumbersome, it's very confusing, but there are quite a large number of seniors who are going to get a substantial amount of help.
For now, the best these seniors can do is try to pick a plan that will best fit their needs. I'm Danielle Webster reporting for Studio One News.
If seniors wait until May 15th to sign up for Part D, they will be charged a penalty for every month they were not registered. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks a lot, Mariah. Well, we certainly had a winter storm come through our area lately.
Yes, we did. It was
ice everywhere.
Chilly, blowing everywhere. We still have the remains of that ice, and I believe Matt even has some footage for us. Let's go to Matt at the weather studio and find out a little bit more about this storm.
Well, thanks, Monty and Shannon. Yeah, we had a first blizzard of the season that moved across the midsection of the country, caused some pretty nasty conditions, and it was also a little bit earlier than average this time of year, but shut down a lot of highways. It made for a very nasty drive. They shut down a lot of interstates across much of the Great Plains because they had blowing snow as well as some freezing rain. And accompanied with the storm, they had over 70-mile-an-hour winds, which created, where they had snow, they had 8-foot drifts in South Dakota. But again, if you weren't careful, you kind of caught yourself on some of that patches of glare ice and you flipped over, and of course they had to shut down a lot of these roads. But the good news is off towards the west in Colorado, they had a lot of snow with the storm system. So the ski resorts and such out in Colorado, as well as along the front range of the Rockies here, they're able to open up their resorts almost a month early, a month ahead of schedule. So that's a good news. But across the front of the storm where it's not highlighted, they had summer-like conditions where they had tornadoes actually down in Arkansas. So as this whole thing pinwheeled across the U.S., caused a lot of problems and a lot of damage for people all over the country, not just across the Great Plains, but all over the place. Well, winter storms like the one that affected the Great Plains have a big impact on daily life, but your local weather will ultimately decide how expensive your winter will be.
Winter weather has arrived in the northern Plains states. Many people who use fuel oil for heat have been watching the price fluctuate. Weather helps drive the cost for heating During the winter, costs go up because demand is high. However, this year, the weather was very unusual.
Well, the weather's been really nice up until just a few days ago, and it has cut fuel usage down by quite a bit.
It's simply supply and demand. The weather is nice, the price is low. The weather is cold, the price is high. Another way to cut the cost is to fill up when the prices are low.
Sometimes in the middle of the summer, the prices are usually lower, like August, July. August is a good time to fill. But normally people don't fill until they need it.
Even though events like Hurricane Katrina drove fuel prices higher than ever, this fall saw above average temperatures, which translates into lower fuel costs. I'm John Nowaski reporting for Studio One.
Well, some good news. It looks like we're going to have some warm weather for winter across the Midwest as well as the Rockies. That's according to the Climate Prediction Center. So all that damage that was done by Hurricane Katrina down in the Gulf, looks like we'll start to see some offsetting prices because it was warmer and you'll have to use less fuel oil as well as natural gas. Well, here earlier in the show we had a question about what area depends on heating oil the most, and the answer may surprise you. It's actually the Northeast. The Northeast depends on it the most because that's where the refineries are, so it's a little bit cheaper for them to ship it in. Midwest depends on natural gas, and that's what they heat during the winter.
Thanks, Matt. Well, it's good to know that everybody's staying warm and kind of utilizing the resources in their area.
And it seems to be no matter what you're using, you just always want to be warm during the winter. So
just crank it up a little right now if it's so chilly outside.
Well, let's go to sports again with Nathan Shane.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. Athletes say that one of the hardest things to do in sports is hit a baseball. Learning how to properly swing can be something that takes years of practice. One event lets some get a good head start.
With hockey, basketball, and wrestling getting into full swing, most athletes are preparing for the winter sports season. But these young men are putting on their summer gear to focus on a different game. The University of North Dakota baseball team is putting on a batting camp for young athletes who want to work on their swing in the off-season.
It's a great opportunity for us as a coaching staff, for our players, and just for the kids to come in and think about baseball, even though there's snow maybe on the ground or it's a little cool outside.
The young hitters get a chance to practice unique training techniques taught by college coaches and players.
Good job. Try to swing it.
And get helpful advice on how they can improve.
Choke up a little bit.
If they're struggling with the hitting, they get somebody outside of the normal coach that they actually have to give them a little information on what they can do to help better the swing.
While teaching the fundamentals, coaches and players stress a few main points, but one point seems to be more stressed than others.
How to stride and swing the bat.
Stride. Stride. A lot of long strides. Yeah, we got a lot of kids that are used to the T-ball strides, hitting off a tee where they get nice and long. And we're trying to keep them short, but the main thing is we also want to make sure they're having a lot of fun. We don't want baseball to ever end. We think baseball is a 12-month sport, and we'd like to see it that way.
Coaches and players are hopeful that the lessons learned this off-season will carry over into the summer. I'm Darren Lean, reporting for Studio One Sports.
The coaches say they look forward to seeing the players develop their skills and become prospects for recruitment later on. And now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question. In the NHL, what is the Conn Smythe Trophy awarded for? Well, it's for the playoff MVP, and the last winner was Brad Richards when the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in the year 2004. And that's the sports. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks, Nathan. Having a new puppy is an enjoyable experience, but when it comes to training, people can get frustrated. We'll see how one woman makes a difference for dogs and their owners.
Also, many young people like to spend an evening out at a popular nightclub. We'll take you to a different kind of hotspot where the party begins where the chores end.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person.
I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration. Real degrees for real people.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND offers students exceptional learning opportunities. Undergraduates are helping faculty design and build unmanned aerial vehicles to test remote imaging devices. They're also converting wind energy into hydrogen. Geological science students are contributing to environmental research. Extracurricular activities include designing, building, and racing a fuel cell car. Make the most of your college experience at UND's School of Engineering and Mines.
Let the University of North Dakota become your partner by providing your business with services to enhance your workforce. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience conducting employee satisfaction research, strategic planning, focus groups, and grant development. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, your source for news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Many people leave their pets in kennels while they're away. One woman boards many pets as well as some special hopefuls.
Carlene King is a certified canine behavior and training specialist. In other words, she's a dog trainer.
We start with walking on a loose leash so that the dog's not pulling. They're walking right next to you.
After some baby steps are made, Carlene says the owner needs to take responsibility too.
She spends all of her spare time, I think, with him, and that's what makes the training successful.
Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Sit, 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 sit. 3.
Carlene works mostly with dogs because, like many owners, she appreciates their companionship. Carlene says because of this, she found her niche.
I made a decision that it's something I wanted to do. I wanted to make a difference in this community. I wanted to continue on giving dogs a second chance.
Carlene offers a special service to the local Humane Society.
Before they're euthanized, I want to give them a second chance to find another home. And that's where Parker comes in.
Parker was taken in by Carlene the day before he was to be put down. She hopes that some training will help this good dog find a good home.
They're there for you no matter what, and all they ask is for us to just love them in return. And I look at that and I think what a small thing for them to be asking of us.
Carlene hopes all dog owners will answer this simple request.
Carlene says she's had pets her entire life. She currently lives with 5 dogs, a cat, and a raccoon. Drug testing in high schools is becoming more common. Some people believe this is an invasion of privacy. Others feel it is necessary. We wanted your thoughts on whether or not random drug testing in high school is appropriate.
In terms of random drug testing just for random students, I would be against that because we don't practice that in anywhere else, so I think that would be an invasion of privacy.
It should be optional for the school if they want to do drug testing, but if the school proceeds on the drug testing, then the student should have to take part in it.
As far as education and stuff goes, I think parents have the right to know what their kids are doing. And that's just one thing you don't want is all your kids are going to school all drugged up and everything else. But plus you're putting other public at risk.
It's taxpayer dollars that are paying for high schools to be operating, and I think with parental consent it would be all right.
Drugs are illegal and they aren't good for your health, and I don't think kids in high school should have the opportunity to do it without being checked up on.
Farming has always been a part of American life. Recently, though, farmsteads have been disappearing across the nation. In our Spotlight story, we meet one family who is determined to keep their farm successful.
Little has changed in Arthur, North Dakota the past 50 years. Many of the people who live here still carry the same traditions and way of life as their parents. Grain trucks still carry the fall harvest to the elevator, where it will be sold and carried away by rail. And just like it has for the past 50 years, Highway 18 still leads you north from town to Brian Johnson's farm.
My dad bought this farm in the 30s. This is, his dad farmed by Hunter, and this is where my dad started farming.
Brian has been here farming and raising livestock since he was a child. Today, the Johnson farm still raises pigs in this barn.
Mostly I do it just because we have a lot of facilities here. We got this big barn and we've got to use it for something.
Farming itself has become a diversified way of life. And when the summer ends, the family must find new ways of creating income.
Hog farming has gone to all corporation, the big, 1,000 sows or 10,000 sows. There's very few 20 to 100 sow pig farms anymore.
The Johnsons have found several ways to keep money coming in. Brian is a substitute teacher, and his wife works full-time. But it was his father that found the most innovative way to keep the farm going.
First dance was May 1952. They moved the barn in February, and then new barn, and they decided better have a fundraiser dance or like a barn warming dance, and we had one dance, and I think 800 people showed up, and Dad figured maybe he should have another one.
For the past 50 years, the local people have been dancing on the hard maple floor of Johnson's barn. The dances are held twice a month, after harvest, of course. Brian says his crowds are mostly college students looking for something different.
Like to come and dance. Not into the drinking, just into the dancing.
The barn has had a few facelifts over the years. Milking stalls that used to resemble these are now bathrooms, and the pigs in the basement can now rest easy when there is a dance.
All these steel posts, we put these in because of the bunny hop. In the 50s, when they had bounced, the floor started bouncing back too much.
Today, the spirit of the barn dance remains unchanged. Country is still the music of choice. The smells of pigs still guards the front door. And for some reason, Brian says the girls still beg to see the piglets. One thing has changed. A farmer's creativity has given a new generation of kids the chance to two-step on the same floor their parents did years earlier. This is James Haley reporting for Studio One.
The barn has not always been in its current location. Brian's father moved the building to the Johnsons' land using 8 trucks. This time of year often means hosting family from out of town. Next, we'll learn how to create a craft that'll give your home some extra sparkle and spirit for the holidays.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door. No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
Department stores fill with decorations this time of year to give spirit and color to your home.
Today we'll show you how to create your own holiday centerpiece. Darlene Shea was inspired to create her own holiday craft using the mix of natural and homemade pieces. Thanks for being on the show today, Darlene.
Thank you for having me.
And look at all of this stuff. Before we get to it, this is the finished product. How did you get into making this sort of a craft?
Well, because of the abundance of greens and things at this time of the year, you know, I have to make something out of it, so we decided we might as well try making some centerpieces.
Okay.
Now these greens here, we have a lot of different choices and they smell wonderful. Why are you using real greens versus artificial?
Partly because of the smell. It gives you a nice fragrance in your home, and they last for quite some time throughout the season, 3 to 4 weeks, so you'll be in good shape.
Okay, well, I'm anxious to get into this. Shannon and I are going to work on one ourselves, and you'll be working on one, showing us how to go. What kind of tools do we need?
Well, you need a good sharp pruner because, as you know, the branches that come off the trees are a pretty good length, so you'll need to cut those down so that you can get them to fit in the planter you're working with, or a vase, tray, whatever you're using.
Okay.
And mainly you want some wire and some branches and that sort of thing. We also use florist foam, and what you'll do is just measure your container to see how much, what size you need. And then just a little hint, I take this paddle wire and I use it to actually take and cut your foam this way, then you get a clean cut.
A little bit easier than using a big knife or something like that.
Take and fit that into your planter and you start poking in.
So we just grab random?
We have a variety of greens today. At the end there you've got your Fraser fir. Fraser fir is typically out of North Carolina, although they're starting to grow them now up in Wisconsin. You've got white pine, which is that real soft, nice long needle, and your balsam fir. That's where one of your better smells, you know, come out of your short needle trees. And just start setting them in no particular direction because you're going to want to, you'll fill in as you go. There's also Norway pine, and we have Scotch pine, which are the medium needle and the long needle. And you do that for texture. You'll want to fit in the different textures as we go to make this. You can make it as tall or short as you want, and just kind of keep working with the stuff that you have available in front of you.
Is there a certain size that you normally make them, or how big have you made these centerpieces?
Well, you want to make it comparable size to your container so it doesn't look like a dwarf sitting in the middle of your table.
What's the largest one you've ever made?
We made one about 60 inches for a 60-inch circular for a buffet table one day. It was quite a chore, but it was a lot of fun.
You said we could personalize this a little bit. What are some of the things you can add to this?
Well, once you get your container filled, you know, it's all totally. A lot of people, of course, you want to match your colors to your home because, you know, it's no longer just the reds, a lot of burgundies and greens and things. Once you get your container filled, if you want, you can fill it with, even add some fresh flowers. Carnations are fabulous because they last a long time. Maybe you have a special rose you want to use or something.
So you can throw flowers in there as well?
Fresh flowers go in really well. You can use any type of, you know, the silks that you use for accent.
Sure.
The silk poinsettias. The real poinsettias don't work as well because they don't seem to last as long once you take them off of the main plant.
What about adding Christmas lights?
Christmas lights, if you're near an outlet, it's an excellent thing to do, is to add some Christmas lights because, of course, you get the nice little night light, and when the greens warm up, then they smell better yet.
Well, you probably don't want to add fire to this, but would you ever throw a candle in there?
You can. Candles are fine. I would suggest, like, for instance, in these containers we're using, I'd definitely use a tapered candle, larger. Or if you're making just a centerpiece that's lower on the table, you can set actually just your candle holders in amongst the centerpiece, and then you're not getting it right in with the greens.
Now, you've made a lot of these different centerpieces. Do you make them just for gifts, or are they for sale?
I do them for both. We sell quite a number of them at our nursery, so, you know, and then even though I work with it all day, it's still fun to have one at home.
Right, and once you get this finished, where does it end up?
We end up as far as like in the home.
Yeah, in the home. Where would you put it?
You can set it anywhere you want to use it. You know, you can use greens all over your home. And I mean, Christmas only lasts about 3.5, 4 weeks, so why not enjoy it while we can?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Now we're getting close to the end here, and we're looking
at. This is called tingling. You just stick that in.
Just poke it in here.
Did you say tingling? All
tingling.
Right. Could I have some tingling?
You can have actually a branch there.
Thanks.
And get You know,
now
get
ours
some
is quite
color.
large compared to yours
Well,
over
we'll
there.
trim it down just a little bit.
Okay.
You know.
So you build them and then
you
trim
have all
them
the
down?
branches on your side. I can't reach them. See,
All right.
that's the problem.
Excellent.
So you
Well,
just keep adding and.
You know, this work of art doesn't look as
First
nice
is in the
as
starter process.
That's the starter. How long does this take usually?
Well, usually it's going to take me between 30 and 40 minutes.
Okay,
so.
to make something as beautiful as that. All
Exactly.
right. Well, I'm going to take this home anyway because it looks so pretty for
Very
me.
good.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure having you, Darlene.
Thank you, and happy holidays.
All right, same to you. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect North Dakota veterans with important information. North Dakota veterans can use the internet to access employment and business resources, health and benefits they deserve, housing information, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded in part by the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. North Dakota veterans and their families can get connected by visiting go.ndgrow.com.
Become a leader in healthcare with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota. The Graduate School at UND offers degree programs and advanced practice certificate programs in the allied health professions and nursing. Our faculty give you the individual attention you need to help you attain your career goals. Distance programs for practicing professionals allow you to pursue graduate studies without interrupting your career. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I love working with people.
I'm a people person.
I consider myself to be highly motivated.
I'm a real self-starter.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
I can offer you much more than just good people skills.
You're hired.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Thanks for watching our program. We'll be taking a break until early February, but then we'll have more great stories for you.
And we might even, make some beautiful things like this again. I know we didn't do a great job.
It's a little lopsided, but it's colorful and festive.
But it's ours, right?
And we've got the sparkles on our hands to prove it. So.
Okay, we're going to leave you now with pictures of the Studio One cast and crew. From all of us here at Studio One, have a safe and happy holiday season.